Welcome to another reading of Lord Mayhare. We're on page 3026. Chapter title is Mononage, and the year is 1952. On the 18th, Baidul brought a must named Ramji from Pune. After sitting with him for a while, Baba sent him back also on the 19th. On Sunday, 20th January 1952, Muhammad Must was sent from Mehrabad and one poor man was brought. Baba bathed and fed both before sending them back. On the evening of the 23rd at 7 o'clock, Baba had Gustaji light the duni in his presence. While it was burning, Kaikobad repeated the ancient Persian prayer, the 101 names of God. And there's a note that says the 101 names of God, or 101 attributes of God, was originally recited by Zoroaster thousands of years ago. After this recitation, Kaka and Kaikobad loudly invoked Ahura Mazda. Pendu and Padri invoked Ya Yezdan. Nilu, Krishna, and Vishnu invoked Om Parabrahma Paramatama. Erich invoked O God Almighty, Father in Heaven. And Baidul invoked La Ilah Ilah Illallah, La Ilah Illallah. There is no God but Allah. Each man shouted their invocation 7 times. Baba bowed his head to the Duni and then at the feet of each person present. He directed everyone to leave him while he remained alone, seated beside the Duni for some time. After a while, he again sent for them, one after another, and directed each of them to repeat the invocation of the various names of God in the order described. Before the Duni began that evening, Nilu entered the enclosure with his stethoscope to examine Baba's heart and take his pulse so that he could differentiate between his heart and pulse rates after the work. Baba said, "Thank you, no. I appreciate your feelings for me, but it is not necessary. Come what may, after this period of 7 days, I may live or die, or the blood may rush to my head and crack my skull." Baba conveyed to Erich that he should tell the other men what he found after Baba had sat in seclusion for a time that afternoon. Erich said that after Baba had come out, Baba directed him to feel his head, and Erich found it hot. Baba reassured the men, "Whatever is to happen will happen. Do not worry about that, as long as my work is successful." Baba's seclusion intensified from 23 January 1952, when he sat alone for hours in his cabin and in the blue bus. For 8 days, until the 30th, Baba worked rigorously, and except for going to and coming from the cabin and bus, he never left these confines. His expression was grave, and signs of exhaustion lined his features. Rosalie, would you like to continue?
On Thursday, 31st January, Baba took a bath in the morning and then sat alone in his cabin from 7 to 8 o'clock. Thereafter, he directed Kaka and Kaikabad to sit on either side of him and loudly invoke the name of Ahura Mazda over and over for a half hour from 8 to 8:30. Baba sat alone for another half an hour, and then Nilu and Vishnu were asked to sit on either side of him and repeat Om Param Brahma, Om Paramatma over and over for half an hour from 9 to 9:30. Baba again sat alone for half an hour. Then Pendu and Padre were called to cry out Yayestan over and over for half an hour from 10 to 10:30. From 10:30 to 11 o'clock that morning, Baba was alone, and from 11 to noon, the work he had intended to do with the Saint Vishandas Maharaj, he did by himself. Baba had lunch between noon and 1 o'clock, and then rested for a while, again sitting in seclusion from 1 to 2 in the afternoon. From 2 to 3 o'clock, Erich read out excerpts from Sufi literature to Baba, after which Baba was again alone for half an hour. From 3:30 to 4 that afternoon, Adi Sr. loudly uttered Parvardigar, 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 while Gustaji repeated the phrase internally.
That was from.
There was then an interval until 4:30, during which Baba ate a little fruit. From 4:30 to 5:30, Ramju and Baidu loudly uttered La ilaha illallah. Baba remained secluded from 5 to 5:30. For the next half hour, Don and Erich sat on either side of Baba, repeating, God Almighty, who art in heaven. Again, for half an hour, Baba sat alone. The Manonash seclusion work was climaxing. Age observed, and the mind of man was terrified. It became immobile with fear as it faced its impending annihilation by the mind of all minds. Baba stepped out of his cabin at 7 p.m., and the Duni was lit. Erich read the following as dictated by Baba. O source of infinite knowledge, Almighty God, you know that I did all that was humanly possible for me in this ordinary state, and I leave the result entirely to your will and sanction. For its fulfillment, may the moment, the hour, the day, the month, the year, the yug age, be as you have decreed and destined. From this moment, you must guide me to declare in all truth by the 16th of February, 1952, what you have decided. From now on, I free myself from external religious ceremonies that I observed during the new life and the Manunash period. Prasad was distributed, and the pictures of the avatars were handed to Adi Sr. to be returned to those from whom they had been borrowed. Baba had previously instructed Erich to write these words down on a piece of paper. All rites, rituals, and ceremonies of all religions of the world are hereby consumed in the flames. Baba had the paper in his pocket, and as the dhuni burned, he took it out, tore it into pieces, threw it into the flames, and watched it burn. When the dhuni died out, Baba filled 2 tins with the ash. This ash should not be used by anyone for any purpose whatsoever, he stated. The tins were kept with the other boxes and tins containing the must gifts. Baba then retired to his cabin. The next morning, Friday, 1st February 1952, at 7:58 a.m., Baba came out of his seclusion cabin. No sooner did he step out than Nilu, according to Baba's order, loudly invoked Om Parambrahma, Paramatma, and then all of the companions repeated the same in unison. Om Parambrahma, Paramatma. Age joined them ecstatically as Baba ended his seclusion. Mind was subdued, and the God-man, appearing triumphant, strolled victoriously to his room. From the 1st of February, Baba began following a schedule of semi-seclusion. He now began seeing the Mahrazad men and women as before, and daily discussed with Don the details of his forthcoming journey to the West. Meherji and Narimam saw him on the 2nd, and Saroj was called on the 4th. On Wednesday morning, 6 February 1952, the Must Ali Shah was brought to Mahrazad from Mehrabad. Baba bathed him and then worked alone with him. Footnote. Padre took a film of Baba bathing Ali Shah, but the film is missing. The Must was sent back to Mehrabad the same day. Later that day, Baba dictated the following explanation of Manonash. God is everywhere and does everything. God is within us and knows everything. God is without us and sees everything. God is beyond us and is everything. The one all-pervading, all-comprehending, all-powerful God, who is the self of ourselves, and besides whom nothing is real, has helped me and guided me during this Manonash period of my work, and now makes me dictate to you the following. To try to understand with the mind that which the mind can never understand is futile. To try to express by sounds of language and in the form of words the transcendental state of the soul is even more futile. All that can be said and has been said and will be said by those who live and experience that state is that when the false self is lost, the real self is found. That the birth of the real can only follow the death of the false, and that dying to ourselves, the true death which ends all dying, is the only way to perpetual life. This means that when the mind with its satellites, desires, cravings, longings, is completely consumed by the fire of divine love, then the infinite, indestructible, indivisible, eternal self is manifested. This is Mononash, the annihilation of the false, limited, miserable, ignorant, destructible, to be replaced by the real I, the eternal possessor of infinite knowledge, love, power, peace, bliss, and glory in its unchangeable existence. Manunash, which is bound to result in this glorious state when plurality goes and unity comes, ignorance goes and knowledge comes, binding goes and freedom comes. We are all permanently lodged in this shoreless ocean of infinite knowledge, and yet are infinitely ignorant of it until the mind, which is the source of this ignorance, vanishes forever. For ignorance ceases to exist when the mind ceases to exist. Unless and until ignorance is removed and knowledge is gained, the knowledge whereby the divine life is experienced and lived, everything pertaining to the spiritual seems paradoxical. God, whom we do not see, we say is real, and the world which we do see, we say is false. In experience, what exists for us does not really exist, and what does not exist for us really exists. We must lose ourselves in order to find ourselves. Thus, loss itself is gain. We must die to self to live in God. Thus, death means life. We must become completely void inside to be completely possessed by God. Thus, complete emptiness means absolute fullness. We must become naked of selfhood by possessing nothing, so as to be absorbed in the infinity of God. Thus, nothing means everything. For these last 4 months, according to ordinary human standards, and by ways and means known to me, I have tried my utmost for the achievement of Mononash. And I can say with all truth that I feel satisfied with the work done. This satisfaction is due to the feeling I have of having regained my old life Meher Baba state, yet retaining my new life ordinary state. I have regained the knowledge, strength, and greatness that I had in the old life, and retained the ignorance, weaknesses, and humility of the new life. This union of the old and the new states has given birth to life, life that is eternally old and new. Life for me now means, first, free and obligationless life. Second, life of a master in giving orders, and that of a servant in all humility. Third, the feeling of absolute conviction that we are all eternally one, indivisible, and infinite in essence, and with it a feeling of separateness from the real omnipresent self through ignorance. Fourth, life of God in essence, and that of man in actions. Fifth, life of strength, born of inherent knowledge of oneness, and of weakness born of binding desires. My efforts for Mononash have been positive, and the result of Mononash will be positive. But the actual and concrete manifestation of this result, I leave entirely to the divine sanction. Where, how, and when the result will be, I leave entirely to the divine decree. It may be at any moment, hour, month, year, or age. It may be in any part of the world, either in the east or in the west, in the north or in the south. Yet, in effect, it will embrace all four. It may be under any and all circumstances. I feel that it will be a sudden coming and a becoming of the essence of all love, unity, realization, revelation, and illumination in its varying degrees, for me and for all those connected with me. During my work of Mononash, the four companions who were with me, and also others who were near or away from me, have helped me to their utmost limit. All during my Mononash period, I have been absolutely helpless and full of weaknesses in my ordinary human state. It can truly be said that God in his manifestation, and that the saints and the prayers of all those who love me have accomplished for me the eternal internal work of Mononash, while the four companions have seen to its external aspect. I intend to go in the beginning of April of this year to the West for some months. I expect to leave a complicated free life from March 21st, a full free life from July 10th, and a fiery free life from November 15th. From the 16th of February, I make myself free to accept gifts and as free to refuse them. From the 21st of March, anyone who wishes to come to me, to see me and contact me, may do so, but he or she must make his or her own arrangements regarding lodging, food, etc. I might give mass darshan when I feel it necessary or have the inclination to do so. Any reference to my old life status, which I have now regained, may be expressed verbally in my presence by anyone who wishes to do so. But I will not, in accordance with my new life standards, accept any external homage, such as bowing or touching of the feet. Although the Manunash work is done fully and completely, and the result must and will definitely come 100% to my satisfaction, I now give freedom to each and all who are connected with me to choose what manner of life they henceforth wish to live. They are free either to live with me and obey my orders, or to live away from me and obey my orders. They are free either to lead the life I tell them to lead, or to lead their own lives in any way they please. That is, completely free from orders of any kind from me. This includes the arrangement wallas, but in their case, the only kind of freedom I cannot give them is freedom from the responsibility that they have shouldered to the end. No matter what choice he or she makes, everyone will share when the real freedom comes at any moment by the grace of God. To sum up my Manunash work, 1, I feel in all truth that the 4 months Manunash work has been done by me by the help of God to my entire satisfaction. 2, the result of this work must bear fruit sooner or later, either in the immediate present or sometime later, or in the distant future. 3, the result will bring freedom to us all in proportion to our merits of love, faith, and service. 4. This freedom will be freedom from ignorance and will be the knowledge that we always were, are, and will be one with God. 5. This knowledge will make us realize and experience infinite love, power, bliss, and peace, which we always possessed and knew not. Baba's message was printed and sent out in the form of a circular, which was called Life Circular Number 1. Thus, from 6 February 1952, Meher Baba's life began. Footnote: all of the circulars were printed by Adi Sr. at Nasawan Satta's Mohan Press in Ahmednagar. In a light-hearted mood, on the morning of Friday, 8 February 1952, Baba went on a picnic to Happy Valley with Mera, Mani, Goher, Meru, Rano, and Kitty. They walked the distance of 4 miles to Happy Valley. Arriving at 8 a.m., they stayed until 2 that afternoon and were then driven back to Marazad by Adi Sr., who had brought their lunch of pulao. Alexander Markey, an American film director who had first met Baba in Europe in 1936, was making a film in India. Adi Sr. and Don brought him to Marazad on the 9th, along with Irene Conybeare, who had returned to India. Each had a 15-minute interview with Baba, and Irene was also permitted to visit with the women. Meher Baba's 58th birthday was celebrated in Marazad on Tuesday, 12 February 1952. The companions offered the following invocation in Baba's presence as dictated by him. O God, today being my first real birthday, my heart expresses that the declaration of the life by me was entirely yours and by your will, because nothing happens save by your will. All my knowledge and my ignorance, all my strength and my weakness, all my freedom and my bondage are as you have desired and decreed. This life eternal will be lived by me in conformity with your will, and every word of the declaration of the life will come to pass by your grace. The prayer was issued as a life circular and sent to all concerned. The circular also contained this message from Baba: God's blessing and my love to you all on this, my first real birthday. Marisol, 12 February 1952. In a photo, Gustaji, Baidu, Pindu, Erich by Siddhim Baba.
Gustaji's got strange pants on, huh? What is that? Oh, it could just be the light.
It's strange pants in the light.
Spelled breakfast on it.
Wow. I say, wow, wow, wow. Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Marvin, could you unmute and continue? Thanks so much, Rosalie. Appreciate it.
Jai Baba, thank you.
Jai Baba.
Chapter 22, 1952 Trip to the West.
Hang on, let me take a screenshot of this lovely picture.
A good idea. On Wednesday, 13th February 1952, Baba with the women visited Mehrabad for the first time since the new life began. He and the women went back the next day also. It had been 2.5 years since those at Mehrabad had seen Baba. Footnote: those who lived at Mehrabad and Meherzad at this time were Lower Mehrabad, Padre, Don, Kalamama, Sidhu and his wife Radha. Baba, oops, just disappeared on me. You take it. Oh, here. Bala Tambat, Mohammed Must, Ali Shah. Family quarters were the Jangli family, Savak Kotwal family, Walu, and Upper Mehrabad, Mansari, Jerbai, Gulu, Jalu, Meru, Dastur, and at Meherzad, Baidu, Erich, Gustaji, Kakabaria, Kaikobad, Krishna, Nilu, Pandu, Vishnu, Mera, Mani, Meru, Goher, Naja, Kitty, and Rano. On the 15th, Baba appointed Padre manager of Mehrabad and reappointed Kakabaria manager of Meherzad during the new life, while Padre was at Meherzad. Sidhu had been manager of Mehrabad. As announced, Baba's seclusion ended completely on the 16th, and he began staying once again in his bedroom in the main house. On Sunday, 17th January, Baba, along with Mera, Mani, Meru, and Goher, left Meherzad for Bombay in Naraman's car. Meherji, Naraman, Kitty, and Rano traveled in Meherji's car. On the way, they halted for a while at Binger House in Pune, where a small darshan program was held. Baba and the women were going to Bombay to obtain visas to proceed to America. Don, Nilu, Adi Sr., and Gustaji were to accompany Baba to the West. Also, who were to accompany Baba to the West, also went to Bombay with Sarosh in his car. Once, after leaving a darshan, Baba suddenly had the driver stop the car for no apparent reason. Soon afterwards, two men ran up to the car and panting, prostrated themselves on the ground. The men had been late in arriving at the darshan, only to find that Baba had left. They had run in the direction of his car in hopes of catching up to it. It was for them Baba had the car stopped. In Bombay, Baba and the women stayed at Ashiana. Nariman and Adi Sr. stayed at Naroji's, Gustaji at Dina Talati's, Don at Meherji's, and Nilu with his relatives. During their stay, Baba and the women went to the American consulate to get their visas. They took an early morning walk on Juhu Beach. They visited the aquarium and saw 3 films. While waiting for their visas, Baba held a program for 50 women followers at Ashiana. After getting the visas, Baba and the women returned to Marizad on the morning of the 22nd. Baba was still suffering terribly from hemorrhoids and a fissure, so on 26 February, an operation was performed at 11 a.m. by Dr. Joglekar in the Ahmednagar Civil Hospital. Dr. Joglekar had been specially called from Bombay. Once on the operating table, Baba was in such a hurry that the doctor accidentally dropped a hot protoscope on Baba's anus. No anesthesia had been given, and when Baba did not utter a single sound, Dr. Joglekar was very moved, and tears welled up in his eyes. Erich's heart also was overcome, and he was amazed at Baba's power of endurance. Goher and Don were present too and watched dumbfounded. Baba was taken to his private room, which Vilu and Franey had specially cleaned the previous day. At 4 p.m., Baba traveled in an ambulance back to Marizad, driven by Adi Sr., where Goher began treating him in the bedroom downstairs. Footnote: a second ambulance followed them in case the one carrying Baba broke down on the way to Marizad. Good move. Don stayed overnight to assist, and Padre also helped for a few days. And footnote: Nilu had stayed in Bombay and returned to Marizad on March 9th. Although Baba was able to sit in an armchair and stretch out his legs, on 28 February, when Adi Sr. visited the next day, the pain had increased. Padre wrote a note to Adi Sr. on 2nd March 1952 informing him, Baba passed a very restless night, and in the morning he said that he felt tremendous nervous exhaustion, and also mentioned to Kaikobad that it seemed as if he was to go back, quote unquote. I will put the words as he said it in Gujarati. I feel like I will now return to my home, his eternal abode. It is a sort of nervous fright, though it cannot be attributed to the operation or the piles, for they don't pain him as much. It is his general condition that is bad. To speed his recovery, it was recommended that Baba have mutton soup, so Meru Damania was asked to prepare and send it from Kushru quarters. During this period, Bhagirath Tiwari of Ahmednagar came to Marizad with his wife Kokila to see Baba, and Baba asked Kokila, what have you cooked today? Rice, dal, vegetables, and chapatis, she said. How many chapatis did you make? About 30. What? Why so many for just the 2 of you? Bigarath's brother-in-law has come with his daughters, she explained. So more food is required. So the girls help you with cooking? Baba asked. No, they don't, she replied. Turning to Bhagirath, Baba stated, send your relatives back today. Kokila is not in good health. Can't they see that? So on their return home, Bhagirath told his brother-in-law, you better leave today. But we are staying a fortnight, he said. There is no rush for us to get back. It is best if you leave today, so kindly go. But what is the hurry? The brother-in-law asked. I'm sorry, it is Baba's orders, Bhagirath explained. Bhagirath hailed a taxi, and after putting their bags in it, he made them go. It was later learned that his relatives had been ridiculing Bhagirath and his wife for following Meher Baba. This forcible departure made them conscious of Baba's omniscience, and they too gradually leaned toward him. On the 7th, Baba and those going to America were vaccinated against smallpox. Baba became ill from the shot, and his arm became swollen. Padre was told to send this cable to Meherji. Baba's vaccination reaction is severe. The arm and armpit gland are inflamed and painful, and there is temperature. Padre added in a note to Adi Sr., God help Baba and the West. When Adi Sr. and Gulmai saw Baba at Merazad on 14th March, Baba instructed Adi to have Sarosh continue to pay for the safety deposit box at the Central Bank of India in Bombay, where, among other things, Baba had kept the handwritten manuscript of the book he had written in Merazad in 1925-26. Baba's physical condition in general continued to remain weak after his Manonash work. On 17 March, Elizabeth and Narina were cabled in America. Quote, Baba's condition is getting worse every day, but he still says that unless impossible will come, because if not this time, then I will never come. Erich was in Pune and returned on the 15th of March. Baidul too was staying in Pune at this time and was cabled to be at Merazad at noon on the 18th. Friday, 21st March 1952, was the first day of Baba's complicated free life. On that day, he proceeded to Mehrabad in Adi Sr.'s car with Naraman, Meherji, Ranu, Kitty, Nilu, Vishnu, and Padre followed in a jeep driven by Erich. Nilu, Vishnu, and Padre in a jeep driven by Erich, and the women Mandali and Arnavas came in Naraman's car. Baba lay down in his jopti and dictated the following circular to Adi Sr. and Erich. Today, being the first day of my complicated free life, I feel happy to declare the following through this circular, which consists of A clarification of the life and its three phases. And a footnote there says, this clarification of the life and its three phases had been dictated by Baba 10 days earlier on 11 March. That was A. B, a message to those who believe in my life circular number 1. C, instructions to Erich and Pendu for 7 months from April 1st to the end of October 1952. Now, A, the clarification. 1. Life today finds me both strong and weak. The strength is of the conviction of knowledge and the old life Meher Baba state, while the ordinary human state of weaknesses and binding desires makes me feel utterly weak. 2. As already declared by me, I have left to God's decree and sanction the result of the Manonash work for myself and all concerned. Where, how, and when the result of this work will be, I leave entirely to the will of God. 3. During my complicated free life, full free life, and fiery free life, I, with the help of those who are ready to do so, will do the work as revealed to me under the guidance of God. I feel that in my complicated free life, binding will dominate freedom. In my full free life, freedom will dominate binding. And in my fiery free life, both freedom and binding will, by the grace of God, be merged into divine life. B, the message. My message today to those who love me and believe in my life is that in order to escape this cosmic illusion and to realize and attain the supreme reality, we must abide by the following. First and foremost, our complete surrender to the God-man, in whom God reveals himself in his full glory, his infinite power, his unfathomable knowledge, his inexpressible bliss, and his eternal existence. Should this complete surrender not be possible, then one or some of the following, if faithfully carried out, can win the grace of God. 1. Wholehearted love for God, thirst for seeing him, longing for knowing him, and a burning desire for union with him constitutes this all-consuming love, for which the lover forsakes everything, including himself. 2. Keeping constant company of saints and lovers of God and rendering them wholehearted service. 3. Guarding the mind against temptations of lust, greed, anger, hatred, power, fame, and fault-finding. 4. Absolute and complete external renunciation, whereby one leaves everyone and everything, and in solitude devotes oneself to prayer, fasting, and meditation. 5. Living in the world and yet practicing complete internal renunciation. This means attending to all worldly duties without attachment, knowing all to be an illusion and only God to be real, carrying out one's worldly affairs with a pure heart and clean mind, and living the life of a recluse in the midst of intense activity. 6. Selfless service. One who practices this thinks not of himself, but of the happiness of others, serves others with no thought of gain or reward, never allows the mind to be upset or disappointed, and facing all odds and difficulties cheerfully, sacrifices his welfare for the good of others. This is the life of the selfless worker. C. Instructions. 1. I am sending Erich with specific instructions all over India and Pakistan for 7 months to prepare men and the ground for my work of the Fiery Free Life, which begins from November 15. 2. The Fiery Free Life will require me and the prepared ones to burn freely in the fire of divine love and to take us through all the phases mentioned in B. 3. Besides carrying out the special instructions given to him on 21st March 1952, Erich will have to abide by the following. A. He has been given rupees 2,000 for expenses during these 7 months. B. He should not accept cash money from anyone under any circumstances. C. He can accept food and journey ticket only if gladly and willingly offered. D. He should abstain from politics as we have been doing all our lives. E. He should abstain from lustful actions as I hope he has been doing all along. F. He should not feel flattered by praise, nor should he feel disheartened by ridicule or abuse. G. Bravely and lovingly facing all difficulties, he should faithfully carrying out the work in the name of God. H. He should strictly abide by the rules of the governments of both India and Pakistan. I. Pendu has been ordered to help Erich wholeheartedly in this work of 7 months. J. Pendu has also been given rupees 2,000. K. All the above mentioned instructions stand good for Pendu also. After finishing this dictation at 11 a.m., Adi drove Baba up Mehrabad Hill to see Mansari and Kakobad's family, and from there he returned to Mehrabad. Baba had not spent the night at Mehrabad since 1948. Whenever he visited Mehrabad, he would go only during the day, and he would return to Mehrabad in the evening. On Saturday, 22nd March 52, Baba, accompanied by Pendu and Nilu, was driven by Erich in Adi's car to Ganeskind Garden in Pune. Since Dadi Karawala was an agricultural officer there, he had been able to arrange Baba's stay in the garden in a large bungalow. Although Dadi was tired of the work and had resolved to quit, Baba had asked him in a strange way to keep the job. When Dadi was talking about his decision with Pilu Mama Sata in Binjar House, Baba suddenly entered. In the course of the conversation, Baba spelled out to Dadi, the atmosphere in Ganeskind is quite good, and the climate too is very good. It is a most pleasant spot, and the milk there is rich and invigorating for the health. I like Ganeskind very much, and you should not leave it. Dadi thought, what misfortune! If I get better emoluments in another job, why shouldn't I leave? Keeping company with this master is not good for the. He gives orders and binds one. Despite such thoughts, Dadi prudently said nothing to Baba. Observing him, Baba smilingly dictated, how lucky you are that by your being in Ganeskind, you have the advantage of my company. Baba had come to Pune at Don and Erich's urging to have a set of dentures made, for which Papa Jesawala had contacted their family dentist, Dr. Barucha. Erich had brought Dr. Barucha to Merazad on the 16th for the initial examination. The dentures were now to be fitted. Barucha agreed to supply platinum dentures for rupees 600, but instead, when they were delivered, they were not made out of platinum, but a cheaper material which was lighter. Baba was furious and quarreled with the dentist, arguing that he should not be made to pay the platinum price. Papa railed, such deceit is not good. We had agreed to pay rupees 600 for platinum, not ordinary dentures. Finally, the matter was settled at a lower price, and the doctor was paid rupees 450. Papa informed Baba of this, but Baba stated, go and pay him the remaining balance. What are you saying, Baba? Papa Jesawala asked incredulously. Why should he be rewarded for his trickery? Baba replied, just to make him remember his deceit, he should be paid the rupees 150. It will remind him of what he did. My ways are quite different from the world's. Footnote, the final dentures were delivered on 30th March when Barucha returned to Merazad. While in Pune, Baba contacted a stout must named Joshi Bua, who stayed next to a urinal. Lakshmikant Dade later visited this must and mentioned that Baba was going to America. The must became furious and said in Marathi, why is he going? Can he not do his work from here? He will get his leg broken. Baba left for Bombay in Meherji's car on 24 March and stayed at Ashiana. At Ashiana, Dr. Jaglakar examined the condition of Baba's hemorrhoids, and Baba returned to Merazad the following day. Because Baba was feeling weak, their departure date to the west was postponed for 9 days until the 18th of April. Baba's hemorrhoid condition improved, and on the 29th, he again visited Happy Valley with the women, returning in the afternoon after lunch. Baba had visited this place off and on since 1923. It has consequently earned a special significance in his advent. On his return from Bombay, Baba had sent an urgent telegram to Jal Karawala in Nagpur, calling him to Meherzad at once. Jal had some important government work to attend to at the time, but receiving Baba's message, he left immediately and arrived at Meherzad on Sunday, 30th March, 52, and stayed for a few hours. Baba informed him, "I need rupees 400. Could you give it to me?" Without the least hesitation, Jal handed Baba the money, but thought, why did Baba call me all this way for such an insignificant thing? Had he made it known to me, I would have remitted the amount by money order from Nagpur. Jal had no idea of the real reason behind it. As it turned out, this was the last time he would ever see Baba. On the 31st, Baba came to Ahmednagar to meet his close lovers there. Adi drove Baba, Nilu, and Padre first to Sarosha's home, where Baba met Sarosh, Vilu, Adi Jr., and Frani. Next, he visited Kushra quarters and gave darshan to all the staff and their families, and the families of Rustam, Kaka, and Datu Mahindarj. Gulmai, Baroja, Meru, and Savak each received his personal attention. Baba then visited the house of Vila's brother, Keki, and Akbar Press before being driven back to Meherzad at 11:30 a.m. Adi's nephew, Falu, Bahram and Melu saw Baba that day at Meherzad, where Baba told Melu, "If you have the slightest love for me, your situation will improve." Baba and the women left Meherzad for Bombay on Sunday, 6 April, in Meherji and Nariman's cars. Ustaji, Nilu, and Vishnu, followed by bus and train, with some of their luggage. Pendu left for Pune the same day to join Erich on their tour of India and Pakistan. Baba had wanted Erich to accompany him on his trip to the West, but Erich had asked not to go, stating that he was physically and mentally exhausted from the new life travails and hardships. So instead, Baba sent him with Pendu on a speaking tour of India and Pakistan to prepare people for the fiery free life by explaining what Baba meant by his old life and new life and by his Manonash phase. Baba was now leading his complicated free life, which lasted up till 10th July of that year. In Bombay, Baba and the women stayed at Ashiana for 3 days and then moved to the first floor of another place called Norman's Bungalow. In Bandra, a Bombay suburb, Nariman and Meherji had arranged for them to stay there. With Baba at Bandra were Mera, Mani, Goher, Meru, and Arnavaz. Ranu and Kitty remained at Ashiana. After much difficulty, they had hurriedly procured the apartment, since Baba had found it too noisy at Ashiana. Quite small, it was owned by a Christian woman who lived downstairs. In the Bandra bungalow, on one occasion, Baba spoke about the fiery free life. One who is real is the ocean of bliss. Zero, or illusion, is the ocean of misery. It is the agony of all and makes everyone suffer by harassing them. In the fiery life, by the grace of God, this zero life is to be set on fire and burned. The fiery free life is not a thing to be understood, it is a thing to be witnessed. That night, Baba became quite restless. Meru, Goher, and Arnavaz were sharing a room. Baba came to them and instructed them to leave and sleep on the veranda. Erich, who was on night watch, brought Baba's bedding and placed it in their room. Baba went inside, but in a short while came out on the veranda and directed the women to go back to their room. Still very restless, he paced back and forth, and then went back to his room. Baba went on changing his place throughout the night and remained uneasy. The Christian woman was in some difficulty, and it was later surmised that Baba was working for her. The next morning, Good Friday, 11th April, Baba looked extremely tired and drawn. He instructed Erich to convey the following message by telephone to those staying at Ahmednagar, Mehrabad, and Mirzad. Health is not good. There is much disturbance in and around the building. At night, the traffic caused a lot of disturbance. Although going to the west is a must, visit to the west seems uncertain. Communicate this to all. Because the house was located near a busy road, Baba did not wish to stay there any longer, and he decided to leave with the women for Ashiana. When Baba arrived, he scolded Nariman and Meherji. You have no consideration for me. You don't care about me. I wanted a peaceful place, and you ignored my wishes and are inattentive. Last night was my crucifixion. So Meherji, Nariman, and Sarosh immediately began searching for another place. Nariman and Meherji found an empty, newly built 3-room cottage 35 miles away on Marv Beach. Or Marvi. The cottage had been built as a nurse's quarters for a nearby hospital. That evening, Baba and the women moved there. Baba liked the place very much. It was quiet, and he and the women took long walks on the beach in the morning and evening. Local residents were fishermen, and Baba would watch them in their fishing boats and was quite happy with the idyllic surroundings. Baba's food was brought from Bombay by Arnavas's younger brother, Homa Dadachanji. One day, Baba directed Homa, go to England and don't worry about anything. I am with you, and I will do everything for you. Learn to be an automotive mechanic in England. But there was a special reason Baba directed him to go to England. Homa had some damage to his knee joint, and an operation was needed, though he never mentioned this or his pain to Baba, and Baba did not ask him. Yet what remains hidden from the all-knowing one? This was why Baba assured him not to worry, and later Homa's operation came about in a natural way. On 15th April 1952, Baba gave darshan to about 200 of his old Bombay lovers at Ashiana, including D.M. Shinde and Keshav V. Neni, with their families. Shinde had come into Baba's contact through Gada Care, and Nini through his brother-in-law Rustam Kaka Hatidaru of Ahmednagar. Nini's wife is the sister of Rustam Kaka's wife, Kaku. During this period, Dolly Engineer, 20, came for Baba's darshan, but her fiancé, Jal Piroz Dastur, 22, did not, since he did not believe in Baba. Dolly had been in Baba's contact from her childhood because her mother, Suna Engineer, Anurvas's mother's sister, would often go to see Baba. That day, on returning home, Dolly found Jal in tears. She asked him the reason, and he replied, do not ask me anything. By not going for Baba's darshan, I have committed the greatest mistake of my life. I am a fool. I now acknowledge him as the avatar. Reared in Bombay, Jal Dastur was from the Orthodox Zoroastrian priest class. After Dolly had left to attend the darshan, although he had no faith in Baba, Jal began seeing Baba wherever he looked. This vision began right after Dolly departed. To avoid the sight, Jal left the house, but outside too, he saw Baba. Feeling helpless, he returned home, and while thinking of how to escape the image, tears began falling from his eyes. His tears wiped out all doubts and made him hold fast to Meher Baba's feet from that day on. One person who arrived late was allowed 2 minutes of darshan and prasad. His name was Hoshang Firoz Barucha, 25, a final year medical student. Hoshang had first heard the name Meher Baba in 1949 while visiting Upasni Maharaj's ashram in Sakori. Then he overheard two men discussing how Meher Baba was going to close his ashrams and leave with a few men and wander throughout India. This darshan in 1952 was Hoshang's first opportunity to meet Baba. The darshan at Ashiana was a wonderful occasion, affording a chance for the master's old and close lovers to have his intimate contact for the first time since the new life began in 1949. Koher's sister Katie had been residing in Naraman and Arnavas's apartment since the beginning of the new life, and Sunamasi and Khorshid were now staying at Tafti Mansion, where Baba had stayed in 1923. Baba directed these women to continue to live as they were doing. During this period, Baba visited Dina Talati's home in Bombay, along with Baidul. She had two daughters and one son, but only one of the daughters, Jeru, was home. Baba told her, "I want to bring a must here. Can you prepare a room?" Baba stipulated that the room must have a separate entrance and its own bath. There was only one such room in the Talati's house, the room that contained the prayer nook where the entire family assembled to pray to Baba. Jeru cleaned the room thoroughly. Baba went through the house, selecting the articles of furniture he wanted moved into the room. Jeru moved all of them except for the bed, which Baba said was too heavy for her. He told her to wait until other family members would be there to help her. Baidul will be bringing the must in a day or two, he stated. How will you manage with one fewer bed? Jeru said, my sister and I will share a bed. But a few days later, Baidul came and informed Jeru that Baba's work was done and no must would be coming.
Thank you, Marvin. We'll stop here unless Jonah would care to read to the bottom of the page. Are you able to, Jonah? Okay, so
Why don't you finish it off, Gene? Finish the page.
Oh, okay. According to Baba's instructions in 1944, Narina Machabelli and Elizabeth Patterson had established a spiritual center in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The center was to serve as a retreat and also as a source of information to spread the message of Meher Baba's love to the world. Several American lovers helped Narina and Elizabeth, chief among them being Darwin Shaw, Frank Eaton, and John Bass. Darwin and his family had moved to Myrtle Beach to look after the center for a year, while Narina and Elizabeth were in India in 1948. When Narina and Elizabeth returned to America, they began preparing for Baba's visit. A house for Baba was constructed almost entirely by a local contractor named Truman Moore, along with a guest house for the women and several other cabins for his lovers. And there's a footnote here. Baba had specified the site for his house, which proved to be the highest point on the center. The walls of his bedroom were to be 14 inches thick to make them virtually soundproof. Roads were created and a large barn where Baba could give darshan was moved onto the property. So next week we'll start on page 3043. Let's see, where's those controls? Stop share.